Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezel by your Card Fight Vanguard as in the Vanity Weekly Reviews. But if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe because we have a lot of cards to cover today. Not only do we have the reveals that didn't get translated in time for last week's video, but we also have the new Nebula Knight ride line we can go over, and we're also getting the Sailboat ride line today as well. So let's get this started, shall we? First up, starting off last week's reveals, it ends off with the start deck bosses getting support. So first up, we have Verbal Dragon, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. Continuous, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater with Grandpa or Trap Dragon in the card name, it gets all the following. Auto placed on Vanguard rearguard circle. Counter boss 1, check the top 7 for up to 1 grade 3 or greater norm unit from Munlam. Reveal a player to hand, shuffle your deck, and if you do not add a card, counter charge 1. So essentially, either a top 7 search for free, or you just get a card to hand. And then auto rearguard, and the about that it boosted a rearguard. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, and it's the first battle of that turn specifically, Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit to choose member from rearguard instantly, gets 5,000 power for the turn. So cool, it gives multi-attack to Triumph Dragons, so now one of Triumph Dragon's support cards can go off twice. Not to mention the fact that it does open up rearguard circle for the following turn, and if you have any more combo pieces, there you go. Honestly, not a bad grade 1 support card at all. Obviously, it's good for Grandpa, but it's also amazing for Triumph Dragon, so it's a solid 4 of. Next up, we have Mage of Ravenclaw Kowal, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. I love how he has a giant green bird in the background. Speaking of which, even though these cards are meant to work with the core color counterparts of the DZ set start bosses, I'm only going to focus on their skills in terms of the DZ set start bosses because that's the deck that most people play them in. Anyways, continuous if your Vanguard's either grade 3 or greater with Rewinder or Stars in the card name, it gets all the following. Auto drops it when your Vanguard is placed during your ride phase. If you do not have a copy of this on your board, you may call it to rearguard circle, and if you call it, you soul charge 1. So cool, it acts as discard fodder, it gets you a rearguard back once your grade 3 is placed either from ride deck or from Sun Riding, and it gets you a free soul charge on top of it. Then auto rearguard, and then about that it boosted by shoving it to soul, check the top 5 or up to 1 grade 3 regarded card regardless piece, reveal it, put it to hand, shuffle your deck. So cool that it can add any card that's a grade 3 or greater, and again, it just has to be specifically grade 3 or greater, so it can get your Persona right as well. Unfortunately, that's all it can get you, but still very solid grade 1. Next up, we have Crimson Blade of Gus Winnipro, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. Continuous if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, either black or Astrum in the card name, it gets all the following. Auto placed on rearguard circle, choose a grade 3 or greater card from your drop zone and put it to soul. So it is a way to help turn your Astrum discards into free soul charges, therefore Swing By can now restand on your grade 3, your first grade 3 turn, so that way you can have 5 attacks while your opponent's at grade 2. And then auto rearguard, and then about that it boosted, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, retire this unit and perform either choose up to 1 grade 3 or greater unit with front row rearguard and say calm as it, and bounce it back to your hand, or if your Vanguard's a grade 4 or greater and you have not counter charge this turn, counter charge 1. I hope this means that Astrum will get a counter grade 4, and that would mean all the DZ start bosses get grade 4s. Unfortunately, that is most likely just the case because black happens to be the card tied to Astrum, and black has a grade 4, but it'd be great for Astrum to get a grade 4, so Winnipro can also be used in that one. But still, being able to bounce a grade 3 to front row isn't too bad because Swing By does have an on place that gets you a draw, though to be fair with you, it's kind of a 50-50 skill in that case, but at least she can send a grade 3 to soul to let Swing By proc off on first grade 3 turn, so not a bad 4 for Astrum. Next up, we have Knight of Contingency Yenvanel, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. Continues your Vanguards either Dekakun or Sarvaso, gets the following. Continues rearguard guard sword, gets 5k power, 5k shield, active of both players' turns. So it's a 10k shield and 13k base, all around pretty good for Sarvaso. Like Sarvaso can always call this back, and you can use it as a 10k shield during your opponent's turn as well. And then auto, if it's in the main phase, this cost is reduced by Soul Blast 1. When placed on retire from rearguard circle during your turn, that counts as being called over. So if you want to proc this during the battle phase, there you go. Or if you just want to proc it during the main phase by hard calling over it, that works too, or retiring it via card abilities. Soul Boss 1 to check the top 3 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater card that will go as piece from Munlam. Put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, draw a card. So it's pretty much Cadwella, but on called upon instead of at the end of the battle. All around, not a bad grade 1 at all, especially because that ability is free during the main phase, or it's free during the main phase. So not a bad grade 1 at all. I do feel like it does into the Soul Zone. Sarvaso, at least in my opinion, does use the hand, but if Soul links to certain support cards, you can use that as generic Inkeeter, but it's still a solid, like, not a 4 of, guaranteed a 3 of because of what she can grab. Then we have Ascent Brave Shooter, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. Continues your Vanguards either grade 3 or greater with BBB or Crystonos in the card name, gets all the following. Auto drop zone when your unit is placed on rearguard circle from drop zone by your card ability, either counter boss 1 or energy boss 3 to call this card to a back or rearguard circle as well. So it gets you 2 units on one, which is pretty solid. And then auto placed on rearguard circle, choose up to 1 card from your drop zone, put it to soul. Cool. Again, with the same thing that it procs off for Astrum, this card allows you to get an extra grade 3 in soul during your first grade 3 turn. That way you can proc off the server and Crystonos bonuses supporting grade 3 more consistently. Very solid card. My only issue is that he eats into the 2 resources that Crystonius wants the most, because your way to fill up the drop zone, that's CB, your way to call stuff back, energy, but not a bad grade 1 at all to run, and his ability does proc when he's placed from anywhere. So if you do end up just calling him via Servaso, or not Servaso, Crystonius by his means, or just hard call him, he'll have his ability will still proc off, so not a bad 3-0 for Crystonius. Next up, we have With My Whole Heart Penelia. So unfortunately for Marlene doesn't have a counterpart that happens to be also count as Marlene, but for some reason they chose to keep the continuous of your Vanguard as XYZ, getting the following ability. Grade 1 boost 5k show to get base your Vanguard's Marlene, getting the following ability. All placed on Rearguard circle, check the top 5, show to 1 grade 2 or greater normal unit from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck, and if you revealed a card, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So cool, it fetches you a Persona Ride, fetches you Marlene's entire line of support pretty much, and gets you good cards out of it. And then auto rear guard at the end of the battle boosted, shove it a solo, choose over back or rear guards and stand it, and then choose to one of your greater normal units from your drop zone and put it to bottom. So recycles Marlene, so therefore you can search her the next turn, gets you a free soul, so therefore you can use your soul blasters, and she stands a back row unit while also opening up your rear guard circles. So not a bad grade 1 at all. She allows for combos, she gives you more open circles, which therefore allows to set more combos, and she recycles your Persona Rides, and she can also fetch Persona Rides. What's not to love about her? Easy 4 of. And that takes us over to Steam Fighter Kish, grade 1 boost, 5k short, 8k base. Such a cool art, such a skill I would never use. Auto input placed on rear guard circle from the hand. If your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, yeet a hand card of soul, 5k power for the turn. That is not a bad ability. There are a lot of decks that would use this. They already have a card that probably does this better or does something very similar to it, to where if you do run it, it's not necessarily there because you're kind of like doubling up on something, and you're probably cutting like something that gave them versatility for an extra soul charge, which can still very much be good. But the thing is, he also doesn't give you a hand replacement for it. Like, you just straight up lose a card and he gets 5k, so typically as you will, but it's a very solid budget option for any like really soul charge heavy deck. So it's like a 2 of. You don't want to see too many of this if you choose to run it, but again, it's a free soul card, so there you go. Then we have Space Splitting Arm Blade Apart Slitter, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard. When your other unit attacks, soul boss 1, it gets 5,000 power for the turn. So that ability stacks, so if you swing enough, this thing's actually really good. This card could have been so much better if they made this in Stoicheia. Oh wait, they did. Back in set 4 with Magnolia Elder, that one lemur thing who is now my finisher in every single Sylvanhorn Beast deck, but this card is still technically kind of usable in Brankgate. You just don't multi-attack as much, but still a very solid grade 1 if you want to use it. Not a bad card to have, so works as a 2 over 3 depending on what your deck build is. Next up, we have Barge Marauder, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, auto rear guard, and then by the you attack the grade 3 grade unit, bind it to soul charge 1. Okay, so clearly these are meant to go in tandem together because they are both cyber beasts, not to mention the fact that they look almost exact, well, not identical, but they're both like, you know, beast, and then one just happens to soul charge while the other happens to soul blast. The one that soul charges specifically does at the end of the battle, so take that as you will. These obviously are meant to work in tandem together. Would you ever use them in tandem? Probably not this one, but I mean, hey, at least one gets you resource and the other one gets you numbers, so not a solid, or not a bad 2 if you choose to run this. Then we have our Nebula Knight ride line, starting with the starter Nebula Knight of Inheritance Sirius, grade 1 boost, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base, auto point second draw card, standard starter, and that's free draw if you go second. Unfortunately, if you are playing Nebula Knights, you have to play this as your starter because the grade 1 does actually require it. Nebula Knight of Guiding Sirius, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto replaced by riding from Nebula Knight of Inheritance Sirius. Reveal a grade 3 card Nebula Knight's card from your ride deck, and search your deck for up to 1 Nebula Knight of Yearning Coronus, call it to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck. So Superior calls you specifically a grade 1, what that grade 1 does. Nebula Knight of Yearning Coronus, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard when she boosts a grade, or he, I don't know the gender at this point. When this unit boosts a grade 3 or greater unit with Nebula Knight in the card name, it gets 2,000 power for the battle. Then by ditching any card from your hand, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a trigger unit, choose an opponent's from a rear guard in the same combat as it and kill it, and put the reveal card either top or bottom. So basically, this card has an active ability which allows you the second you place it to get an extra grade 1 to replace the card you did for ride deck, and if the card you did for ride deck is a very other specific grade 1, which we'll go over later, you're essentially gaining 2 units out of just riding to 1. Not to mention the fact that this grade 1, while you do want to keep it safe, you can call it back from drop zone a lot in this deck, and also recycle it back into the deck. Not to mention the fact that when it boosts, while it specifically has to boost to grade 3, on the bright side, it allows you to deck stack, and not to mention the fact it could possibly mark a rear guard. So not a bad grade 1 at all. Easy 3 of, if not a 4 of, in the Nebula Knights. Then we have Nebula Knight of Glory Sirius, grade 2 5k shield, 10k base. Auto and rolled upon by a grade 3 card Sirius in the card name. Soul boss 1, check the top 7 for up to 1 Nebula Knight card. Reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. This card searches the entirety of the Nebula Knights, regardless if it's a normal unit or not. This can also search Persona Ride, which half the time it does hit for me because every other time I use his skill, I only see triggers and Persona Ride, so there you go. And then Auto, when he intercepts anything, if your unit with Nebula Knight is being attacked, he gets 5,000 shield for the battle. So as long as the unit being attacked is a Nebula Knight, it's a 10k interceptor, not bad. And again, this deck does have ways to superior call Nebula Knights out from drop zone. So when you ride to the grade 3, you just soul blast this out and automatically you have ways to get them back out. So very solid one in the ride deck. Then we have Nebula Knight of Piercing and Cornus, grade 2 5k shield, 10k base, the grade 2 version of the grade 1. Auto and placed on rearguard circle with a grade 1 unit with Cornus in the card name. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 2 or greater, card box 1 is search deck for 1 grade 3 card Cornus in this card name. Call to rearguard circle if this unit's on to shuffle your deck. So pretty much Jewel Knight it. I do like how this line kind of evolves alongside the regular ride line because like this is the side supporting grade 1 who grew up with the grade 2 to become this grade 2 while this one became this, and then they both become grade 3s together and stand side by side. If only their arts lined up and were Legion. But I mean, at least they kind of line up themselves because, you know, Saris over here is like kind of coming in from the right side while we can see Cornus is swinging in from the left side, you know what I mean? It feels kind of good for that. Anyways, the second ability is continuous rearguard. If your Vanguard's a Nebula Knight, this card cannot be retired by your opponent's card effects. That ability is really good because a lot of things say cannot be chosen, but there are also a lot of cards that run around that say cannot be, or that retire and then specifically pick a column, or, you know, pick a column or pick something that get around cannot be chosen. So being able to not be retired specifically, while yes, it still gets picked by chosen abilities, it's still pretty solid in my opinion, and again, being able to evolve itself for 1 CB is good as well. Following that, Nebula Knight of Heroism Cornus, so you can either switch this off the grade 2, or you can just hard play this from your hand if you want to, because its skill does not require to be placed from deck. Grade 2, 200% 13k base, auto and placed on rearguard circle with a grade 2 with Cornus and his card name on it. Trip to 1 grade 1 with Cornus and his card name from your drop zone, call to back or rearguard circle. Any of your opponents, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. Soul boss 1, check the top 2, choose one from them, put it to hand, put the other at the top or bottom in order. So cool. You get to superior call the grade 1 out from the drop zone for free, as long as it's put on top of the grade 2. But then if your Vanguard's already grade 3, you can soul boss 1, and then you get to deck stack and add a card to your hand that your opponent doesn't know. So this is your way to add a PG and over trigger whatever the hell you need to your hand. Then auto rearguard when he attacks in anything. If your Vanguard's a Nebula Knight, it gets 5,000 power for the turn. And then auto rearguard at the end of your turn, choose a grade 2 less card with Nebula Knight's card name from your drop zone and call to rearguard circle that this unit is on effect as mandatory as rest. So pretty much 5k extra power for the turn when it swings in a multi-attack deck. That's pretty solid. Following that, you get to call something on top of it at the end of the turn. So if you want to call your grade 2 to help set up for the next turn and have it be immortal, you can. Or you want to have your 10k interceptor on board, you can. Or if you want to set up literally anyone else, so in this case this would be the only other target just for effects, you can as well. All around making for a very solid grade 3, allowing you to recycle your units, being a 18k swinger for free, and not to mention the fact that he can deck stack and bare minimum get you a free grade 1 back once he plays. So easy 4 of. Then we have Glistening Nebula Knight Lord Sirius, grade 3, 200% right, 13k base. Act Vanguard once per turn by returning 2 cards of Nebula Knights and their card names from your drop zone back into your deck. You choose up to 1 rear guard, search your deck for up to 1 card with Nebula Knight's card name with grade +1 of the chosen unit. Call to rear guard circle as the chosen unit is on to shuffle the deck. So essentially, you can level up the grade 1 into the grade 2 via this, and the grade 2 into the grade 3 without having to waste a CB. The thing I love about this ability the most is that while yes, the cards you call has to be a Nebula Knight, yes, it has to go on top of a unit. The best part is the unit that you choose to call on top of doesn't have to be a Nebula Knight. So if that card, say for example, is a grade 0, and you don't have a grade 1 the Cornus in your hand, but you have the grade 2 Cornus in your hand, well, you can pick your grade 0 rearguard that isn't a Nebula Knight, shuffle back 2 Nebula Knights, call the grade 1 on top of that grade 0, call the grade 2 on top of that grade 1, and then turn the grade 2 into the grade 3. All around, a very impressive combo that allows you to level up anything into Nebula Knight, which is great. And then auto Vanguard when it attacks in anything by card bossing 1, choose a column, stand all rear guards Nebula Knight in the card name in the column. Then if you persona this turn by ditching a trigger, check the top cards of your deck equal to the number of rear guards Nebula Knight in the card name, put them back at the top of your deck in any order. Okay, he deck stacks. That's great. Downside, specifically requires you to persona rights. You're not pulling that off till turn 4. Upside, that can stack you a total of 5 cards. Other downside to that, if the top 5 cards aren't triggers, well, screw you, because your only other way to deck stack in this deck without going into generic heater cards is specifically this mofo, and this mofo. So, yeah, not really the best ideal targets, but still very solid, and bare minimum for 1 CB, he gets you a column stand anyways, and if you're standing this thing, well, it's a total of +10 to his column, so not a bad target at all. Allows for multi-attack for only 1 CB, CB, possibly allows you to deck stack, and not to mention the fact it allows you to turn any single rear guard on your board into a Nebula Knight of 1 grade higher, allowing you to initiate a comeback from anywhere. So Glistening Nebula Knight Lord Sirius, very solid main grade 3. Next up, we have Nebula Knight of Accompanying Illusion Formate. Grade 1 boost 5k shield, aka base. Auto and discard from your hand during your turn. If your Vanguard's a Nebula Knight in the card name, maybe call this card to rearguard circle. If you call it, she cannot attack on the turn, but she can still boost. So discard it during your turn via any means. It can be by effects, it can be for ride deck. As long as she's placed from your hand into that drop zone during your turn, main phase, battle phase, ride phase, end phase, whatever the hell, she'll come back to the board. So pretty solid, again, like I mentioned before, riding from grade 0 to grade 1, if you ditch her, you'll end up getting this Sirius ability off to get this grade 1, and you'll end up getting off her ability to spirit call herself back. So while you won't have 3 attackers, you'll have 2 attackers and one of them have an AK boost behind it. And then act rear guard, if your Vanguard's a Nebula Knight, regardless of grade, shove her to soul, check the top card, put the top or bottom. So cool, it's a way to stack triggers, it's a way to get soul, and it's a way to open up your board in case you have excess ways to call rear guard thanks to corners over here. Then we have our Nebula Knight of Equestrian Archery, Hajena, grade 2 and SF5k shield, 10k base. Love the horse. We all know I'm biased towards horses. Continuous rearguard circle. During your turn, your rearguard was either retired or put into your soul during your main phase. Whoop-de-doo. This unit gets 5,000 power, and if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 guard, it's an extra 10 instead of 5k. I love how that ability just requires you to place something over something. So worst case scenario, if you don't have any of your normal units and you just have a bunch of triggers and this thing on your board, just call 2 triggers on top of each other, and boom, free 10k. And then auto rearguard once per turn when this unit attacks while boosted by Nebula Knight specifically. Soul boss 1 and ditch 1 to reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a trigger unit, choose an opponent's front rearguard and bind it. And if it's not, choose an opponent's back or rearguard and bind it. So either way, something's getting bound. And then put the reveal card either top or bottom. So cool. It can deck stack and guaranteedly something's getting bound. Preferably the front row, but we'll take the back row too if need be. Either way though, very solid grade 2. Gets numbers simply by either setting stuff to soul or putting stuff on top of other things. And on the back, it can deck stack like I said and remove rearguards all in one go. So very solid 4 of. And then we have the Nebula Knight's Path from the Starry Sea. Grade 3, normal order. This card can also be played from your drop zone. Unfortunately, unlike the Vermilion order, which can be played from hand, then be played from drop zone, so you can use a total of 8 times if you have 4 copies of it. This card is immediately bound when you play it because it has no cost. So regardless if you're playing it from hand or drop zone, you're going to lose it anyway, so you only get 4 uses of it. Perform one of the following. Check the top 7 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 unit card with grade less than equal to your Vanguard from among them. Call it to rearguard circle, shuffle the deck, so either a free top 7 rearguard call, or if your Vanguard is a Nebula Knight, counterblast 1, check the top 3, choose a card from among them, put it to your hand, choose another card from among them, put it to the top, and discard the other. And then if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 graded, choose 2 of your rear guards, and they both get 5,000 power for the turn. So cool. For only 1 CB, you'll get to add 1 card to your hand, which your opponent won't know about, stack the top card, which again your opponent won't know about, and you'll also get to set up your drop zone with skills, which is kind of still 50-50, but hey, you're giving 2 other units 5k as well, so not a bad card at all, with the only downside being it eats into the CB, making it a solid 3 of, not a 4 of in a Nebula Knight deck, because since it auto binds itself from drop zone, you can just immediately use it as PG fodder and you'll be good to go. Then we have Knight of Remembrance Spinvalis, grade 2 and SF5k shield, 10k base, auto rearguard when she attacks a Vanguard, every persona of this turn, she'll get 10,000 power for the battle. Then in a nation where literally every single generic card has the ability to deck stack in some way, shape, or form, if you had looked at your deck by your card effects this turn, put a hand card with the same card name as this unit into your soul, then increase or decrease this unit's critical to 2 for the battle. Activates upon look, reveal, and search. So anything that looks at the top 5, reveals the top card, searches your entire deck, automatically procs her ability. So the turn you persona ride, if you play any Cuter Sanctuary generic, odds are you have a guarantee she's already a 20k swinger, or technically 30k swinger per persona ride, obviously, but odds are you will probably have an extra double crit rear guard on board. Very solid grade 2. If you choose to run her, because she is a vanilla until turn 4 at the bare minimum, she's at 50-50, but definitely a 3 of if you do choose to put perk pieces into her, and possibly a 4 if you want to increase your chances of seeing her. And then we have Knight of Credence Gaheris, grade 3 to not persona, 13k base, continues back a rearguard circle during turn. If you have 5 or more units, he'll get boost, and if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 graded, he'll also get 2k. So being a 15k booster isn't bad. This is like a nice generic pack filler. You will never use this unless you absolutely need budget reasons. So if you need the budget for it, 3 of. If you don't need the budget for it, don't run it. Then we have some news on the upcoming releases. So first up, we have Ruka and her main grade 3. A lot of us hoped she was going to use Kairi because if you've been paying attention to all the blackout leaders at some point in time, not counting Tamari, but Tamari will eventually become a blackout leader, as we all assume, is that they all use a trial deck from the original 6 trial deck. Because Yu used his trial deck of Nirvana, Toya used Bastion, Bruce was used by Donji, Megumi uses Magnolia, and then Tamari uses Seraph Snow. We all thought Ruka, or we all hoped Ruka would use Kairi. Turns out she uses a Stoicheia deck, which I'd have been more disappointed in, but her grade 3 looks cool. And that is one who guides towards paradise, not a clear. I love how it says one who guides, similar to like Fated 1 or one who walked from 0. So I just find her name interesting. Also that she's being called a guider. That's something cool to me. A lot of people are taking more phrase into the thing paradise, but I'm taking more into the thing of guide. Anyways, the first leader of Blackout, cheerful and whimsical personality, won the qualifiers in the US and secured a spot in the finals, but what is her true purpose in participating for the deluxe? Well, I cannot wait to see what her grade 3 does. For some reason, I'm getting flashback of witches with her, so who knows, maybe her units will turn things to grade 0s. Who knows? And then we have some news about more cards in DZ Set 9. So this week, Thursday, we are getting the reveal of Dai Kaiser. So unfortunately, it won't be in this video, but it'll be in the next video. However, we are also getting the reveal of Ultimate Regalia of Almighty Minerva in this set. When, I don't know, but this is the grade 4 Minerva back at the end of G's. She's getting introduced. And then finally, we have DZ Set 10 release news. August 8th. Resonating Guidance of the Dragon Soul. With Michiru getting, presumably a new grade 3, Demonic Jewel Dragon Emperor, Jejuled Magnus. Jejuled has not taken a title yet. The most he has gotten was True Demonic Dragon True Demonic Jewel Dragon, Jejuled Ignis, / Karmic Demonic True Dragon, Jejuled Mask. So being not only called an emperor, but getting the name Magnus, who coming from a chess player, the first thing I thought of was, oh my god, that's Magnus Carlsen, one of the greatest chess players of all time. Yeah, going to one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah, I'm still peeved about his loss to Yu in Will Dress, because I feel like Yu got RNG lucky with the overtrigger. I've come to accept it. I'm still mad about it, because I feel like Michiru should have lost in a different way to Yu, but yeah, coming to the guy who feels like Michiru doesn't really have an actual loss on camera outside of the Donji match and the what's his name, the match against Gi when he was possessing Jinki. Yeah, I feel like this is a thing. So I can't wait to see what this grade 3 does. And on to our last reveals for the day. First up, we have Unison Dragon Sybil, grade 0 boost 5k, short 6k base. Look at how cute little Sybil is. Oh my god, he's so cute. I don't like how the new Sybil looks, or like the grown-up Sybil looks. He's so nice when he's a child. Anyways, the standard auto enrolled upon draw card if you win second. Nothing too special about it. Then we have the grade 1, so you know how Sybil's Unison Dragon, similar to how Andra and Gry are Unison Dragon and Human, and they bond together. So Sybil's bond unit is Speyrod. So boy aspiring to join the Protector Speyrod, grade 1 boost 5k short 8k base. He honestly looks really cool. Auto when placed by writing from a unit with Sybil in the card name. A really grade 3 card with Sybil in his card name from the Ride deck, and search it out for one Speyrod and Sybil, who we once were, reveal it per to hand and shuffle your deck. So pretty cool that it can search our card just by being ridden, which is good. So it's an active ability, so deck wins 1 extra card, so your first grade 1 turn you can end up having more chances to see triggers. Then we have Distorted Heart Spearod, grade 2 intercept 5k show 10k base. I love how he goes from just like kind of calm and heroic looking to just like berserker mode kind of thing. Anyways, auto Vanguard when it attacks anything, retire a rear guard and reveal a grade 3 card Sybil in the card name from the Ride deck. Draw a card, and then this unit gets 5,000 power for the battle. So it kills off your own rear guard to replace it with a hand card and gets an extra 5,000 power. And it definitely fits like the thing of Berserker, which makes me really interested in the lore, because if you don't remember, we saw Sybil's partner Speyrod die in the anime, so now I'm kind of curious what led to that decision, especially because we went from heroic to evil. Then we have Speyrod and Sybil, who we once were, which is such a cute little image. It cuts off a little bit here, but you see Sybil and Speyrod enjoying themselves when they've grown up just a little bit. God, I kind of feel bad knowing what happens to these two. Grade 2 normal order, play this card for Vanguards as Speyrod or Sybil in the card name. Put this card into your soul and choose one of your vanguards, and it gets auto vanguard once per turn. When your unit without sentinels retire from your rearguard circle other than during the main phase, put this card into your hand until end of turn. So cool, it's a way to return your killed rearguards back to your hand, so you can just on your grade 2 turn, when you retire something to draw a card, so you're not really losing anything, and still be super aggressive with your deck. Then auto drop zone, when you grade 3 or greater unit with symbol and this card name stands by card ability, by binding this card and discarding one, your vanguard's drive becomes 1 for the turn. So cool, based off of that, symbol restands like every Dragon Empire grade 3, which means he can set his drives probably to 0 considering what its skill is, but you can return his drive back to 1 with this card. Not a bad thing at all because it doesn't require the opponent's vanguard to be a specific grade for that, and again it still allows you to be super aggressive with the deck because once per turn it allows you to return a retired unit back into your hand, so pretty solid 4 for me. Then we have Dragwitter Kazim, Great on Boost 5k Shield, 8k Base, auto becomes mentally polluted during your turn. Even until turn, this unit gets auto rearguard once retired from rearguard circle, we put it to soul, and it gets 5000 power. So what I'm getting from this, Sybil probably has the ability to mark off its own rearguards, or at least Sybil support cards involved doing that, and then they have different abilities based off of getting retired, so basically Takikaze, but they also come at the state of mental polluted, which is honestly pretty cool that Sybil carries that, which when I was like putting in the cards, I thought it was cool, like how halfway through I just noticed that some of them said mentally polluted, which is great. Then we have Dragwitter Shock, Great on Boost 5k Shield, 8k Base, auto back or rear guard once per turn. When your unit in the same column as it stands, if this unit is in the mental pollution state, stand this unit as well. So it pretty much stands, Sybil stands itself in the same column as it. If you ever get like column standards, this would also work as well. So not a bad grade 1 at all to run in Sybil. I think it's a very solid 3 of or 4 of. Then we have Demonic Dragon Berserker Baki, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, auto drop zone. When you play normal order, if your vanguard's Unison Dragon, counterboss 1, call it to rearguard circle. I like how it procs for both Gryandra and Sybil, because Gryandra is a Unison Dragon, and it can call itself from there, because typically Gryandra will use the normal order, you know, the drag resonance, and then continues rearguard circle during your turn. If your opponent's vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, all Unison Dragon units get 5000 power. Then if this unit's in the mental pollution state, this unit gets 5000 power. So pretty solid that he can pump up the vanguard again, regardless if it's your Gryandra deck or if it's this deck. But if it's in the mental pollution state, he gets 5000 power. I don't think he himself is a Unison Dragon, so he would only get one set of 5000 power. But pretty good that he just gives your entire board 5000 power for free just by your opponent being a grade 3. So not a bad grade 2 at all. Like it that it's generic for both Gryandra and Sybil, but I like that it gets stronger when used in Sybil. It's a very solid 4 of. Then we have Desolate Fire Dragon, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, or continuous your Vanguard's Unison Dragon, again procs for both Sybil and Gryandra, gets all the following. Auto place on rearguard circle, counterboss 1, check the top 7 for up to 1 Unison Dragon card or up to 1 normal order that would godless piece from among them. Really put it to hand, show over deck if you're not a real card, draw a card. Again, very solid because both decks have normal orders you want to add to your hand, and both decks have a Persona Writing grade 3 that's Unison Dragon that you can add to your hand, so pretty solid there. And then auto rearguard when it attacks at anything, it gets 5000 power for the battle. Then by energy boss 3, choose an opponent's choose one of your rear guards, and it gets auto when retire from rear guard circle during this turn, put it to your hand until end of turn. So cool. Swings for 15k swing regardless if you pay a cost or not, but then you can pick one of your rear guards, and again it gets more benefit out of if you're playing Sybil, because when Sybil kills off a rear guard this turn, it's going to go back to your hand. Not a bad grade 2 at all, allows you to be a little bit more aggressive against your opponent. The rear guard you pick can actually be Sentinel, so unlike the order, it has a little bit more versatility with it, and not to mention the fact that it can search your deck for a Persona Ride, so a very solid 4 for me. And our last card of the day is the one we've all been waiting for since its reveal at the very end of Season 2, Malworm Sibyls. Act Vanguard, once per turn, Soul Boss 1, choose up to the same number of rear guards as your opponent's Vanguard's grade, and until end of turn they become Mental Pollution State. They also get Auto Rear Guard at the end of the turn, retire this unit, and 5000 power. So, this card... Further, this is the first time reading this. So this card, at bare minimum, if you went first, can turn 2 rear guards into kill themselves, but they get +5. Turn 3, 3 rear guards get that skill. For only 1 Soul Blast. Cool. Then auto rear guard at the end of your turn, retire this. Oh, that's sorry, wrong skill. Auto vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked into a vanguard, regardless of grade. Counterboss 1, choose one of your rear guards in the mental pollution state or one of your vanguards and stand it until end of turn. Its drive becomes 0, and he gets plus 10,000 power. Then if the opponent's vanguards are grade 3 grade, you choose 2 units instead of 1. So for 1 CB, regardless of the opponent's vanguard's grade, you stand any unit that's either mentally polluted or the Vanguard. So yeah, remember earlier when I said this deck would be good if it had like a rearguard stand? Well, there you go for sack. But if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, you stand 2 units. More importantly, regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard is at, the thing that gets stood gets plus 10k. So unless your opponent is seeing triggers, they're going to be dropping guard this turn. So pretty good skill. And then finally, auto Vanguard once per turn when your rearguard in the mental pollution state is retired during your end phase, draw a card. So stand stings in the mental pollution state, gets you multi-attack, turn stings into the mental pollution state and gives them power for only 1 soul, and to get you a free draw at the end of your turn. This card is amazing. Bushy did a really great job designing this. I didn't know how they would do Sybil, and I was very interested to see how they would go about it, and I actually like this. It sacks off your own rear guards, makes them stronger, and then it has like really good synergy with other stuff, and I like the cute little story that happens in the background with like Sybil and Andra together, or not Andra, Sybil and his boy Spirod, and also just like the generic support card for all around units and dragons. So without further ado, I'm going to swing here. I hope all of you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Twitch, and don't forget to sign up your Vanguards.